Welcome, welcome. Dr. Stephen Hobbs here from the Wealth Movement, sharing a tip for co-creating the well-living workplace. This tip comes from working in many parts of the world in all different kinds of organizations. But in particular, I was assigned to work in Africa in a couple of countries where there was war on. And when I was entering into my work and I was being giving my briefing to do what it is I needed to do, the head of delegation at the time said, "It's really important, Stephen, if you remember the following." He says, "You've got to display patience, flexibility, and discretion when you go about the organization of your work." And it was very true. And it's something that has stuck with me over the years. That's been about 30 plus years now when I work there. And I keep being brought to this all the time, whether I'm working with my own organization or consulting to other organizations, is this notion of patience, flexibility, and discretion. Now, to set this up, one of the things that I've come to realize as well is that there's two sides to every story. And we could probably agree there's three sides, four sides, five sides to a story sometimes. And something that I picked up was when you hear a story, you've got to understand where is the story coming from. Because you can be in a meeting and someone says something and you go, that's sort of counter to what I heard in another meeting. Or you talk to one manager in an organization and the message that they give you is very different than the message that someone else has given you about the program you're helping to initiate. So there's the stories, and when it's shared with you, where is it coming from? These are important variables because it sets up for this patience, flexibility, and discretion component that I want to share with you now. Now, patience is really around this whole idea of being able to tolerate delay without getting angry. And to sort of, I think of this as sometimes I had to take a couple of deep breaths. Not like this, right? It was more, and just put myself in a place where I could come to listen more because I've got two ears, one mouth, and to be able to see, hear, feel, sense what's going on with the conversation that's in front of me. The idea of the flexibility is to be able to adapt to the situation, and sometimes it's on the fly, it's immediate. And I'll give you an example here in a second. The third part of it is the discretion, is to not reveal the private information. We also associate a word, confidentiality, is not to share something that happened in one meeting with another meeting. Now, the particular situation where I want to emphasize patience, flexibility, and discretion was the day that the machine gun from the soldier came through the window and touched the tip of my nose. So you can appreciate I had to be very patient. I had to modify, in other words, be very flexible about how I was going to deal with this. And I had to show great discretion, is not to involve a whole bunch of other people that really didn't need to in this very private situation. The driver was with me, the soldier was there, and some of the other soldiers. So it was very much about a 3-minute patience. Yeah, it took me about 3 minutes for this whole situation to unfold, and be flexible enough to be able to answer the questions with my driver, still look like I'm present, know I'm screaming in my head about, am I going to lose my hearing? Am I going to lose my head? Right? To this notion of being able to share discretion is because I can't give a lot away about where I'm going and what I'm doing because of the nature of my work. So is playing all these variables at that moment, that 3 minutes, and I'll tell you, it was quite the experience. So this notion of patience, flexibility, discretion is very much inside me. It's almost like muscle retention about how to shoot my free throws if I was playing basketball. So I just leave that with you to think about and find places where patience, flexibility, and discretion are important to you, whether in a meeting, or you're doing a one-on-one conversation with your family, your friends, and just look around and get a sense of where these three elements of your life become sort of lit up. They're lighting the path there in front of you. So with that, take care.